Hello, my name is Samantha Pumen, and I'll be doing a speech on ADHD. One moment, someone is trying to do their homework, but the brain keeps getting distracted by the smallest things. Even though they know they need to do the homework, they can't. And next thing they know, it's been 2 hours and none of the homework is done. They cannot seem to keep focused on the homework. This is called attention deficit hyperactive disorder, a disorder that affects around 6 million kids from the ages 3 to 17, according to CDC in 2016 to 2019. During the speech, I'll explain multiple things about ADHD. This includes what ADHD is, the criteria to be diagnosed with ADHD, the difference between ADHD and ADD, how ADHD can affect girls differently, and medications that may help with ADHD. Almost all the information that I will provide comes from the CDC, WebMD, and the Child Mind Institute, and myself, as I am diagnosed with a combined presentation of ADHD. What is ADHD? ADHD is one of the most common disorders in childhood, according to the CDC. ADHD can be diagnosed during childhood and can last until adulthood. There are 3 different kinds of ADHD that someone can be diagnosed with and many symptoms that can appear. The information that I will speak about all comes from the CDC. These 3 different kinds of presentations that someone can have is an attentive presentation, hyperactivity and impulsivity presentation, and a combined presentation. The inattentive presentation means that someone has problems holding attention, forgetfulness, is easily distracted, may lose items easily, and has trouble organizing things. The hyperactive impulsivity presentation usually involves a person that is fidgety, having to get up and move even when it's not appropriate, like in school, talks excessively, is constantly on the go and has to be moving in some way, and can sometimes interrupt others while they are speaking, even if they know that they shouldn't do that. A combined presentation means that someone experiences both inattentive and hyperactivity impulsivity presentations. It's just a combine of symptoms. The criteria to be diagnosed with ADHD. There are a few criteria that need to be met for a professional to diagnose someone with one of the 3 kinds of ADHD that I have told you about. As stated before, there are a few symptoms that are primarily present with each of the different kinds of ADHD, but the DSM-5 has many symptoms that are present. But to be diagnosed, there must be at least 6 of the symptoms for any category to be considered for a diagnosis for children up to the age of 16. Past the age of 17, you only need 5 symptoms from childhood to be diagnosed with ADHD. Another criteria is that these symptoms have to be at least present for 6 months or more, and it has to interfere with a person's everyday life, whether it be school, at home, just in a social work environment, doesn't matter. The professionals that can diagnose someone with ADHD is someone who is a mental health professional or your primary care provider. The differences between ADHD and ADD. Well, for starters, one is called attention deficit disorder, ADD. The other is called attention deficit hyperactive disorder, ADHD. Although ADD is an outdated term, it's mainly used for ADHD. ADD is considered a term for inattentive type of ADHD. Although many people still use the term ADD, as it relates to ADHD, according to the Child Mind Institute, ADD was used up until 1987. Before that, ADD would either be diagnosed with hyperactive or without hyperactive. Now it's used as more of a subcategory of ADHD, though a lot of people see ADD as a separate diagnosis. The DSM-5 does not count ADD as a mental disorder anymore, so ADD cannot be diagnosed to somebody, only ADHD. ADHD in girls. ADHD can manifest itself differently between males and females. The way ADHD shows in females is very different from the way it shows in males. Males are more likely to be diagnosed with the hyperactivity and the impulsivity in ADHD, as the disorder is sometimes thought of as a boy's disorder, as they can cause chaos, are louder, constantly on the move, and are typically more aggressive. While girls are more likely to be diagnosed with the inattentive ADHD. Daydreaming can be a little bit of a chatterbox, just, not paying attention in general, forgetfulness. As males and females are different, ADHD shows differently, and girls are less likely to be diagnosed with the hyperactivity and the impulsivity, so sometimes their diagnosis can actually be overlooked by doctors. Some more common symptoms for girls with ADHD, according to WebMD, is that they have a harder time focusing, are more likely to daydream, have forgetfulness, a messy room, struggles with concentration, and are more prone to losing items. They are also more prone to having stress, anxiety, low self-esteem, depression, and are more prone to being to self-harming. The medications for ADHD that may help with these symptoms. The medications come in all different kinds of forms, but there are 3 main drug forms that can be used for ADHD. This information comes from WebMD. The first category is a stimulant drug. This drug is used to help someone's thoughts and ignore the distractions that are around them by the outside world. The second category are drugs are non-stimulants. These are usually used when stimulants do not work for a person. These may help someone concentrate and control the impulses that they may have. The third category is antidepressants. The antidepressants are usually paired with stimulants, but the antidepressants are used to alleviate other symptoms that ADHD may bring, like depression and anxiety. These medications are not for everybody though. They can have side effects, but they are good. They're a good option for people who may want them or need them. Finally, let's go over a recap of everything that I've gone over. Choosing one of the 3 different presentation types are possible. Types are possible based on the type of symptoms that a person may have. The diagnosis of ADHD can be used using the DSM-5. As said before, the symptoms must affect someone's everyday life and be shown for a minimum of 6 months. Attention deficit hyperactive disorder looks differently for everybody depending on what type of ADHD you have and whether you are male or female. But everyone deserves to know what to look for if they believe they might have ADHD and how they might be able to manage that disorder. Thank you. I hope you guys like my speech.